Imagine stumbling upon something preserved for millennia, not in ice or amber, but in the dark, suffocating embrace of a peat bog. An ancient human, their skin like weathered leather, their hair still intact, their last expression frozen in time. What secrets do these silent witnesses hold? And what horrific tales of sacrifice, justice, or accident are buried beneath centuries of undisturbed moss and mire? To understand the profound and often disturbing enigma of bog bodies, we must first journey back to a landscape very different from our own, a Europe where vast, treacherous wetlands dominated. These aren't just archaeological finds, they are chilling, almost perfectly preserved snapshots of ancient lives, often ending in violence. For centuries, people have encountered these macabre treasures. Farmers, peat cutters, and even children digging through the dense acidic soil would suddenly encounter a face, a hand, or an entire body, miraculously intact, sometimes thousands of years after death. The initial shock, the sheer disbelief at finding a human form so unnervingly lifelike yet so unmistakably ancient, must have been overwhelming. These aren't skeletons, they are people. Their clothes sometimes still clinging to their bodies, their final moments often visible in their expressions or the injuries they sustained. This isn't just history, it's a direct, unsettling confrontation with the distant past, whispered from the grave. And the whispers tell tales of ritual, power, and often brutal death. The bog, in its silent, cold efficiency, became a reluctant tomb, transforming flesh into a kind of leathery time capsule, confounding scientists and historians alike for generations. What force compelled these individuals into their watery graves? And why did the bog protect them so perfectly before giving up its secrets? The story of bog bodies truly begins to coalesce in the mid-20th century. One of the most iconic discoveries occurred in 1950 when two peat cutters in Denmark uncovered the remarkably preserved head of a man. His facial features were so clear, so undeniably human, that they initially mistook him for a recent murder victim. This was the Tollin man. He lay curled up as if asleep, his face serene. Yet around his neck a tightly braided leather noose told a far darker story. He was not just found in the bog, he was placed there. His last meal, identified through stomach contents, was a simple gruel of cultivated and wild seeds, a meal typically eaten in winter or early spring. Carbon dating placed his death around 400 BC, firmly in the Iron Age. But why was he hanged? Was it a sacrifice to a malevolent bog deity, a condemned criminal, or something else entirely? His peaceful expression, juxtaposed with the brutal reality of his execution, creates an enduring and unsettling paradox. Fast forward to 1984 in Cheshire, England. Peat workers stumbled upon what they initially thought was a piece of wood. It turned out to be a human foot. Further excavation revealed Lindo Man, another impeccably preserved individual. His death was even more gruesome, a trifecta of violence. 2 sharp blows to the head, strangulation by a garrote, and his throat cut. Like Tollin Mon, his last meal was also modest, predominantly cereals. He too was naked, apart from a fox fur armlet. The sheer brutality of Lindo Man's end suggested something more than a simple execution. It hinted at a ritual, a profound offering perhaps, designed to appease powerful unseen forces. These weren't isolated incidents. Hundreds of bog bodies have been found across northern Europe, Denmark, Germany, the Netherlands, Ireland, and the UK. Each discovery adds another piece to a horrifying puzzle. Some show signs of horrific torture, flaying, disembowelment, impalement. Others were starved. Many, like Tollin and Lindo Man, met violent ends, suggesting a common ancient practice of ritualistic killings. The recurring themes of nakedness, bound limbs, violent injury, and carefully placed bodies strongly imply these were not accidental drownings or simple burials. These were deliberate acts steeped in meaning for reasons we can only speculate about. The silence of the bog preserves the crime scene, but it refuses to reveal the perpetrator or the full motives. And the questions only grow more intense as we learn more about the bog itself. The astonishing preservation of these bodies isn't magic, but a macabre symphony of natural conditions unique to peat bogs. The waterlogged, acidic environment, devoid of oxygen, creates a natural pickling solution. It prevents the decay caused by bacteria and fungi, which thrive in oxygen-rich conditions. The cold temperatures slow down chemical processes, and the sphagnum moss that often forms the bog releases humic acids. These acids tan human skin and soft tissues, turning them dark and leathery, similar to how animal hides are tanned. Bones, ironically, are often dissolved by the acidic conditions, leaving behind the miraculously preserved skin, hair, and internal organs. It's a cruel irony. The very conditions that preserve the soft tissues often destroy the skeletal structure that gives us clues about age and health. Modern forensic science has revolutionized our understanding. Pollen analysis from gut contents can pin down the season of death. Hair analysis can reveal diet over months, sometimes years. Even specific genetic markers are being explored. But the biggest question remains, why? Was it punishment for crimes like adultery, theft, or treason? Historical Roman accounts from Tacitus's Germania describe Germanic tribes executing traitors and cowards by submerging them in bogs. However, the consistent theme of ritualistic injury and positioning suggests something far deeper than mere justice. Many theories point to human sacrifice, particularly at times of famine, plague, or war, to placate fierce fertility goddesses thought to inhabit the bogs. The precise timing of their deaths, often in winter or early spring, supports this. It was a time of scarcity, when communities might have felt most vulnerable and desperate for divine intervention. Yet, even within the sacrifice theory, there's a chilling spectrum of possibilities. Were they willing participants, chosen for their purity or lineage? Or were they victims dragged unwillingly to their watery demise? Some scholars suggest they could have been sacred kings, ritually killed to ensure the prosperity of the tribe. The lack of standardized ritual across all discoveries makes it challenging to pin down a single explanation. The methods of killing vary, the ages of the victims differ, and their social standing, as far as can be ascertained, was not always consistent. The bog, itself a liminal space between land and water, life and death, was seen by many ancient cultures as a sacred, mysterious realm. Perhaps by placing their dead within its murky depths, they sought to communicate with the divine or to banish evil. The bog bodies remain silent witnesses to a dark chapter of human history, their secrets locked away by the very environment that preserved them. To this day, the bog bodies continue to captivate and disturb us. They are not merely ancient remains, they are hauntingly personal relics of a world both alien and uncannily familiar. Each leathery face, each preserved strand of hair, each meticulously recreated last meal speaks volumes about a past we can only partially comprehend. We gaze upon their final moments, frozen and displayed, and are forced to confront the harsh realities of ancient life, where violence, superstition, and ritual intertwined. Were these individuals heroes, victims, or simply sacrifices to appease unknown forces? The bog, in its eternal cold embrace, has held their physical forms, but their true stories, their hopes, their fears, their crimes, or their devotion remain largely buried beneath centuries of undisturbed moss. And perhaps that's precisely why they continue to fascinate, because the deepest mysteries are the ones we can never truly solve, forever whispering from the dark, silent depths of the bog. If you're intrigued by these morbid historical puzzles, the next video explores the mystery of Australia's Somerton Man, an equally perplexing case of an unidentified body with no answers.